The fringe foot has a metal bar that comes up in the center of the foot, and this bar sets up so that when you use your zigzag stitch on your machine, the threads will jump over this bar and create slack in the threads, which will give you the fringe look. So in this sample, this is the fringe using a 30 weight thread. This is fringe using a variegated regular 40 weight embroidery thread. You can also layer 2 lines of fringe together to get a different look, and you can curve and make any design that you want to. This technique is using the fringe foot to create off the edge decorative stitching. I'll show you how to do that in the video. Create this nice lacy edge and combine it with your decorative stitches. You can also use the fringe foot to create dimension for your sewing projects. Here we use the fringe around the heart accent here just to give it a little dimension to the project. You can find this on our website, JUKIquilting.com, under our projects tab. Select the zigzag stitch on your sewing machine. We're using the DX 4000 today. Turn on your locking stitch at the beginning and your locking stitch at the end. This way you will make sure and secure those stitches when you start and stop. You can turn on your thread trimmer so that it'll trim the threads at the end of stitching. The zigzag width, set this between a 6 and a 7. This is set to your liking and to the project that you're working on. I'm going to select 6. The stitch length, you want to bring that closer together. I'm going to select 0.4. This will change depending on the thread weight that you're using. You can also go to a 0.3 and try that. I've had good luck at 0.4. You may need to reduce your thread tension, so simply touch the tension on this machine, and we're now set at -2.5. So I might want to reduce that a little bit more so that that top thread is being pulled down to the bottom. Do some test stitches with this to see where your tension should be set for the different types and weights of threads that you're using. Attach the fringe foot to the machine. When you sew, begin sewing slowly. Make sure that that needle clears that guide, that metal bar. Right here's the bar, and you can see that the needle is swinging over this, creating the fringe stitches. When you have finished, tap the pattern end key and continue to stitch. Those stitches are locking off. When you release this, make sure that you pull towards the back of the foot so that those threads will come off of this metal guide. To create the fringe border, take a piece of lightweight tearaway, just a strip of that, and place it behind your fabric. Make sure that the edge of your fabric is finished off by just turning under that edge so that you have a nice clean edge to work with. Place the tearaway behind that and let the tearaway extend beyond the edge of the fabric. Place this under the foot so that that metal guide in the center of the foot rides right along the edge of your fabric. You want to make sure that the needle is catching the edge of the fabric as you are stitching. Lower your presser foot and begin to sew. Just watch it to make sure that the needle is going into the edge of the fabric. And I take about 1/8 of an inch bite into the fabric. When you come to the end of the area, just touch your pattern end so that this will tie itself off to secure those stitches. Cut your threads, lift your presser foot, and pull to the back of the machine. Now we're just going to remove all of this excess tearaway. I've switched now to a decorative stitch, and I like to use a stitch that actually has a solid line that will connect with the edge of the fringe. If you choose one that sews mainly out here instead of connecting with some type of a straight line, you may not catch some of these fringe loops and they may pull out. The foot I like to use is the satin stitch foot that comes with most of our machines. You could also use the open toe foot, but I prefer to use the satin stitch foot because this part here actually helps to hold all of this down. You see that's missing on this foot, so this would all be open. But here, this works as a guide to help hold these stitches down as I sew over them. Select your decorative stitch and position the fringe under the foot so that the needle is coming right down along the edge of the fringe stitching. As you sew, just be careful. Keep these fringe out of the way. Make sure that the needle is just catching the edge of that previous stitching. When you come to the end, touch your pattern end key to finish off. You can now remove the tearaway from the back, and you'll have this nice fringe edge.